Bonjour people and welcome back to another review. This time we are looking at the Dark of the Moon Deluxe Class Roadbuster. He is a Wrecker, which is basically a commando unit of the Autobot faction in the Transformers lore. In the Dark of the Moon film, Roadbuster is accompanied by two colleagues from the Wreckers. He comes alongside Leadfoot and alongside Topspin. I have a Topspin figure. I don't have a Leadfoot figure because that was part of the notorious Dark of the Moon wave, which was prematurely cancelled. But hey ho. So, Roadbuster here, he turns into a NASCAR. What type of NASCAR? I'm not entirely sure, but you can see that this is a variant that is not equipped with a load of weapons. They were notorious in the film for being just completely decked out with armour and with big guns. Big guns. This variant, he's a bit naked, he's a bit bare. He comes with this chainsaw minigun hybrid thing here, which is his mech tech gimmick. You can see this lever, when you pull it back, it brings out a big old chainsaw. Because he's a deluxe class variant, it doesn't have a locking mechanism, so you have to hold the lever if you want it to stay out, otherwise that's that. It plugs in vehicle mode to the top. The Mecha Live gimmick obviously fills itself because it's on a spring mechanism. There are other ports along the sides of the car, but you can't use them in vehicle mode due to a little tab that's on the inside of the arm, which I'll show off later. But that's the weapon. Let's put it to the side and have another look at the car. So his primary colours are this creamish white. It's probably just creamy because of colour degradation over time. It's an old figure, debuted in 2011. What are you going to do? His other primary colour is this dark green, which runs along the top of vehicle mode, and you can see there's a load of product placement all over. Being a rally car or NASCAR, they deck their cars out with all of this sort of thing. So you can see AMP energy on the top of the bonnet, 88. That might just be the racing number of the car, if I had to give a good guess. I don't know races, so whatever. National Guard logo on the side. That's bizarre. Detailing wise, he's got some backlights on there. He has the Chevy logo on the front, silver headlights, nicely painted. There is a bit of detailing on the front grille there. Tyres don't have a lot of paint going on. There's just the pins that are holding the tyres in place there in the centre. He's got some translucent plastic on the windows. This window is slightly open, so you could stick your finger through if your finger was small enough. Some mesh detailing there, a bit like Bumblebee in that film. It's only present on one side. This side, the clear plastic, is just along there. In fact, if I had to stab a guess, I would say maybe the entirety of this top is actually clear plastic, but just painted over. Now, obviously, clear plastic is renowned for being very brittle. It can break easily. Thank God nothing on this figure has fundamentally broken. It's a little bit floppy in places, but we'll cover that later. For a quick size comparison, here's Topspin, who I mentioned earlier. He's a deluxe class as well. He's alongside Roadbuster. You can see that they are very similar in terms of size. And you can see Topspin is just decked out with all of this stuff and nonsense here. But yeah, maybe aesthetically, Topspin is the nicer looking vehicle mode. Roadbuster is just a bit plain for the type of character that he is. The type of loudmouth, redneck, maybe mildly Scottish, I don't know. And what was his accent in that film? Anywho, transformation. For a start, there's a few things with this figure, some subtle things that I feel not a lot of people know about, so I'll try and cover them in this sequence. For a start, the first thing that you want to be doing, I like to come to the back here and just move that bit up and out of the way. Then we want to be coming to the sides and just unplugging them and bringing them back. Just try and clear that bit, push it all the way back and out of the way. Next, we come to the front and let's come to the underside. Let's take out the legs, which trail the entirety of the bottom. It's a decent looking underside, but the feet do stick out a little bit, but not to worry. Pull that out. Then come back to the bonnet, and we want to be lifting the front bumper slightly as we use our thumb to push those bits through. It gives a bit of an ugly cracking sound, but that's just the tabs detaching. You want to pull this through and just back like that. We're just going to tilt the camera up slightly. Right, we can see his head poking out. Just lift it up for clearance sake, then grab all of this round about here, bring it back and twist around on this. I want to say it's a ball joint. It's not a ball joint, it's a mushroom peg. What do I know? We're going to close up these chest panels slightly and then Coming to the back, we're going to fold up the bumper, just like that. And we're going to fold that bit back and thread it through so it sits flush against the rest of this backpack. We now want to move the arms back and out of the way like that, and then we're going to hinge all of this into that gap, making sure that we try and keep the head and all of that facing up. I feel like something's gone amiss here. This isn't going right. Why is this not going right? Ah, there's a hinge just behind the head. So hinge that and the rest and plug until it all just fits through the gap there and into place. Coming back to the legs, we're going to separate them. We're going to rotate them at the upper hip, or rather at the knee. Again, I'm talking bollocks. Rotate at the knee, flip the foot forwards, take these green panels. This is one of the sort of things I was talking about. And just push them back slightly. They want to be sitting at an angle, so they're partially unclipped from the inside of the leg. Push that back, foot by foot. Plug it there. And here's another little subtle thing. These top tyres, you want to be detaching and rotating down like that. Again, it's something that's not particularly covered in the instructions, but it's there, so do it. And they just clip into place, just like that. And there the leg's all done. We're going to panel up. Make sure that the chest is still pushed in. Rotate the head up. Coming to the arms, we're going to flip those bits there. You can see my peg there is just a bit loose. It's maybe a factory defect with this mould in general, but these are meant to tab in just like that. Sometimes they don't. A lot of the times they just fall off. It's a bit balmy. Detach the arms from the panels there, as you can see. Let's flip that bit up on this other arm. Briefly touching upon the MechTech thing. Again, you've got the hole there, and then you can see there's a green tab in vehicle mode that does plug up against the inside of the leg, thus stopping the port from working like it should. Now that we're in robot mode, there's clearance and it can work perfectly. Here's another little subtle thing, but this one is more well known. You take this part of the car, you fold it out, and then you fold it forward and over the rim of the wheel. There is an inside tab on the panel, and then you rotate the wheel until it meets some resistance. At that point, you know you've got it into place, and it just sits there. So the paneling is basically broken up a bit more, and it's not just one big slab. Rinse and repeat on the other side. We're going to take that, we're going to rotate it forward just so it sits over the tyre. And like that, I'm going to shift the shoulders up. Now, this is how I like to display the figure personally, with the back of the car bunched up like this. But this isn't actually how it's meant to be. If you want to be more movie accurate, you then come to the back and you separate all of this out. Just like that. It's a little bit scary, but don't worry. It'll all work out. And then it's personal preference as to how you have these bits displayed. If you want to have a neat little look, you probably want to be doing something along the lines of that. Take these panels, fold them out. You can see that the pin has gone in my copy here, so it's going to be very floppy, but this one likes to stay out. Hence why I keep them closed up most of the time, just because it's not the nicest look, really. Make sure that shoulders are still in place, and there we go. We have Roadbuster fully transformed in his robot mode. And it's decent. It's decent for a Michael Bay design, you know. It's not the worst thing. It's not completely movie accurate. I think the head sculpt, which we'll take a look at in a minute, is maybe based on an earlier piece of concept art. I believe in the finished film, his head is a bit more like an F1 car driver's helmet. This is a bit more like a flat cap. Well, not a flat cap, but like a sun hat. And he's got hair, and I don't think that was in the final version. But yeah, it's a bit of a lanky robot mode, especially given more lank due to these rocket launchers and the way they're displayed like that. I'm going to keep it like this just because this is the official interpretation for what it should be like. Again, I like it more closed up. It's completely personal preference. So if we zoom in and have a look at the head, we can see, or try to, you know what my camera's like if you watch these reviews, you can see there's some nice silver paint on the face. I think it's sculpted in a way to insinuate it has some sort of beard going on, but it's painted silver so you could easily miss it. In terms of eyes, he has just a big blue visor going across, and lo and behold, it is light piping. And I'm going to use this massive torch, and we can see here that illuminates really, really well. It's clear blue, almost whitish blue, It's cool. Coming along, we have the rocket launchers here. We can see there is detailing of rockets right there, which is quite nice. Then the painted green to blend in with the rest of the car. It could have benefited with a little pop of silver, maybe. Coming down, the AMP logo is now broken up. The rest of it sits on the bonnet that's underneath. But we do have some good detailing of, say, the car engine, where his spark would be. It could be painted a little bit more. It's just this dull grey. Maybe the budget for the Vigor ran out, who's to say. But detailing-wise, it's quite nice, actually. And you can expose it by just bending them back. They are on nice, I want to say hinges, but it's probably just pins. So in theory that you could move them all the way around, but why you would want to do that, I don't know. Coming to the shoulders, you can see there's a nice Autobot symbol on that one. There's nothing on that one. Again, whatever. Big car panels on the side. Maybe we could have found a way to break that up, but then again, it is just a deluxe class figure. A lot of this paneling is a bit obtrusive. It gets in the way. These green bits fall off all the time, so just keep a keen eye out for where they could go if you suddenly find they're missing. Panning down. Big backpack, big backpack. Could be broken up a lot more. It's kind of a detriment to the figure, really. I mean, this mould is not a one and done sort of thing. This mould has actually been used to death quite a lot of the time. Age of Extinction, it was repurposed to be Lockdown. Last Night, it was repurposed to be Hot Rod. So this whole concept of the figure mould, where you bring it down, you swing it around and you plug it back in, it's quite a common mould for Transformers. And it works for some, it doesn't work for others. For Roadbuster, it works well enough. For things like Lockdown, not so much. It makes for a very cumbersome figure. Panning down some more, the tyres are surprisingly articulated. They sit further down, which is meh. It's nice that they included that. We didn't have to, but whatever. Green paint on the knees, green panels on the inside of the legs. You've got some sculpting on the shins, but again, there's no paint to really make it pop, so you could easily miss it if you're not looking careful. No heels to flip out. The feet, just this big hollow plastic here. It stands decently if you have him in a good position. In terms of articulation then, we're going to start with the head. He is on a ball joint, so you can rotate his head 360 degrees. He can look up that far and he can look down that far, so not very impressive with that. These rockets, again, are articulated, so you can move them which way and every way. At the shoulders, he has a ball joint, so he can go round all the way. He can flip out an impressive amount, so that's good. On the elbows, there is I want to say it's a pin. No, it's a screw. So he has about 90 degrees of articulation, but then the car panels get in the way and just hinder. There is some, well, yeah, there you go. There you see, that's the panel falling off. Again, you can see there's a tab there. It's meant to plug in. It doesn't, because I think the clip is slightly warped. Factory default. There is I want to say a mushroom peg at the upper arm like that. So there's a bit of swivel, but it's blocked again by all the car parts, and that's it for arm articulation. It's basic, it's not particularly impressive. He has no waist articulation because of the way that he's plugged into the backpack. In terms of the legs, he can kick up that far, he can kick back only that far. If all of that wasn't there, then he'd have more room to manoeuvre. He can spread his legs only yay far. It's not very good. This time it's not the backpack in the way, it's just the moulding of the legs. Doesn't provide a lot of clearance. You can swivel at the knees all the way around. You can bend at the knees decently if you have his legs forward a little bit. Fortunately, in this case, the car doesn't really get in the way. In fact, it doesn't get in the way at all. That's actually as far as the knees can go. And that's it, really. It's got a bit of foot forward and back like that. But hey-ho, part of the transformation. It is what it is. We'll return to the MetTech weapon here, and now we can push them into the arm. And you can see, as we push it in, that makes that green tab come out. So you can see how that works. Unlike the top, it's not a spring-loaded system, but it's a tab. It is whatever. But yeah, you can have that on his arm. Looks decent. You can plug it in his back in robot mode still. So it looks decent as well. For another quick size comparison, I have quickly transformed Topspin, and here he is in robot mode alongside Roadbuster. So you can see they're both deluxe class sizes. They are basically the same height, In terms of heads, maybe top spin is a little bit taller, but when you take the backpack into account and have Roadbuster displayed correctly, quote unquote, they are the same size. So all in all, that is Roadbuster. It's a decent figure, a very basic mould, a very common mould. I think that it works better for him than it does for others. Like I said, I don't think that the lockdown that uses this mould is very good. I think it works for Hot Rod in The Last Night. It's decent enough, but it is a bit cumbersome. There's a lot of panels that are not broken up, therefore he has a big backpack, his big shoulders. It's fine, but it's not amazing by any means. However, I have seen, albeit not in person, the Studio Series Roadbuster. Makes me have a bit of a soft spot for this guy though. I think in principle the newer version is a superior figure, definitely probably in terms of articulation, but this guy, gimmickry. He comes with a MagTech weapon, he comes with rocket launchers. I mean, the other one obviously comes with rocket launchers, but there's something nice about this one, especially for the time. I think reflecting the state of Transformers in 2011, it's good. It's good, you know. Passable articulation, not hindered too terribly much, but still there is hindrance because of all of that. Visually, looks nice, can't deny it, even with the lack of extra weaponry all over him. Really kind of pops a bit more in robot mode. Of the two modes, the robot mode is certainly more appealing, but maybe could have done with a bit more weaponry to blend in, because I believe the Leadfoot figure that did sort of see a limited release was a bit more like Topspin, had a bit more armour, a bit more weaponry. So Roadbuster does stick out a bit like a sore thumb when you have all three next to each other. I know the Studio Series, they went definitely with a more armoured look. So it's, again, personal preference. I think that the later figure is smaller than this one, so if you want this Roadbuster to fill out the ranks of a collection and to have him similar sizes as all deluxes, get him. But I don't think you're missing out too much if you want to pass on him. He's decent, but there are much better figures out there. He's fine. That's my opinion. He's fine. Write in the comments what you think of this figure if you have it, and if you don't have it, say what you think, I suppose. But yeah, that's Roadbuster. So thank you everybody so much for stopping by and checking out this video. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and share it around to help out the channel. And until the next time, we'll see you all later.